Okay, welcome to the how to play sort of playthrough of the Few and Cursed. If you watch our previous videos, see how easy it is to set everything up. But we're good to go. Every character has their starting deck. They've drawn 4 cards to their starting hand, and they've each drafted 2 jobs from the job deck to sort of give them some starting goals. So we will have the redhead go first. You can see here my hand of 4 cards. I have 3 curse cards. Every character has some amount of curse, and a lot of the game is managing this curse because these cards are very powerful. They can copy the effect of any other upgrade card that you've played this turn, but they increase your curse by 1. So I could potentially have 8 attack in this turn, and I could actually probably get a pretty big bounty with that 8 attack. But if I do that, my curse is already going to be very close to my curse threshold. And once you cross that threshold, you're going to be playing with the deficits of being cursed. And the problems that cause the whole game. Because every time you increase your curse when you're already cursed, you actually take damage. And obviously if you get knocked out by going to 0 health, you can lose victory points and grit. That's not how you become an infamous bounty hunter. You obviously want to be able to fight your way through things. You don't want to be getting knocked out all the time. That's not good for your reputation. So this is my starting hand. So the first phase of a turn, once everything is set up, is based on the first player marker, which we'll say the redhead has at this point. Players will improvise. Since you're bounty hunters and curse chasers, the way you build your deck in this game is much different than other deck builders. There's no market. There's this upgrade deck, and instead of creating resources to buy other cards, you simply draw 2 cards from here and improvise. So you can see here, out of these 2 cards, the redhead is going to pick one to add, not to her deck, but immediately to her hand. So since I have no movement this turn, and the redhead in general is not great at being agile, I'm going to draft Supernatural Speed, giving her some much needed movement, not only this turn, but in future turns as well. So I've improvised, that goes right to my hand. Jebediah will go next. He will draw 2 cards. Sorry, I had one from before. Here's his starting hand. You can see I've got some movement. I can generate some more money. And I will draw 2 cards from the top. And I have the option of getting the uppercut, which is a very frequent card that you can see, which is +2 attack, or I can trash it from my hand to get 3 attack. Or I can focus on more movement and a little bit of attack and get roll and shoot. So based on my hand and what's going on, I'm just going to go for the more focused attack, and I'll draft that to my hand. So once the improvisation phase is complete, the next phase of the turn is what we call the encounter phase. And if you are outside of San Andreas, you will draw an encounter card, which you'll see on subsequent turns. But when you're in San Andreas, you actually have 2 different actions you can take. They're both sort of over here. You can visit the job board, which will give you more jobs that you can potentially complete. And it also gives you the opportunity to sell one of the jobs that are sitting in your hand that you don't think you can complete for its money value. So, as the redhead, I don't start with any money. So there's not much reason to visit the store. So I will visit the job board to show you this since we're talking about it. And you draw 2 job cards. And I can pick one to keep, which I will pick Curse Crow. The other one will be discarded for now. If you ever need to reshuffle that, you can. And then whenever you visit the job board, you also have the opportunity of selling a job for its money value. You don't get the grit because you didn't complete the job, but you can sell it on to another member of the world to complete. And I'm actually going to sell this Curse Crow back to the job board. So I'm keeping the 2 I started with, but I'm doing that so I can get a little bit of money. So the redhead now has $4, which I can use later. So for my encounter phase, in San Andreas, I visited the job board, and I talked to some patrons. I talked about some work that they could have, and they gave me a little bit of a tip. Jebediah, meanwhile, does have some money. So what he will do, again, to show you what else you can do, is he won't visit the job board, but in San Andreas, instead he's going to go to the store. Now, while you're at the store, once per visit, you have the option of refreshing the store, which is discarding something from the area to the discard pile so you can see something new in the store. So I'm going to put that Colt Walker in here, and I'm going to see the Gatling gun. Now what's interesting about that is that you can buy off the top of the discard pile. So I haven't completely buried that yet, but I really just wanted to see another thing that I could potentially buy. So based on my money situation here, I'm going to do $3 for these boots. And the boots, once per round, will give me 1 movement, and they take up an accessory slot, which you can see maybe just barely at the corner of your frame. Obviously, everyone has 2 hands, a right and a left hand, and 2 accessory backpack slots. So you can only ever have 4 items completely equipped, but I will keep this up here over here for now, just so we can see it better. So I have boots. And that is my encounter action. The store does immediately fill whenever anything is purchased. And I have $1 more, and I'm at the store. And there are some always available things to purchase in the store, like bullets or upgrading your stats. So for my final $1, I'm going to get 1 more bullet, which brings me up to 4. And that's the end of our first encounter phase. So the next phase is the action phase. That's sort of the bulk of where people will play their turns. So we'll go back to the redhead. She now it's now her turn. So I'm just going to make sure I look at my jobs here, because I can definitely complete some if I so choose. So yeah, that's what I'll do. For my action phase, I'm gonna try to complete a job. I actually can complete 2 jobs in 1 turn, and take a pretty good lead based on what I've drafted. So first things first, on your turn you can play cards whenever you want or need during any phase of the game, but they're discarded at the end of each phase. So during my action phase I have my full hand of cards, that's when I'm going to use it. So I'm going to generate 3 movement. This is what I have to pay to move through here. So I'm going to go this way, because it takes 2 movement up, and it ends me in the ruins, which is where I want to be. So I'm actually only going to play 1 card this turn to get what I need to do for my action. Because what you do is you spend as many cards as you need, then you get to pick 1 action that you take. And the action I'm going to take is going to be to camp in this ruin location, which is going to allow me to score my camp in ruins job, which I will put up here. It gives me, if you can't see up here, it gives me $3. So I'll take my $3. And it gives me 4 grit. So I'm going to go up 4 on the grit tracker. And this job is scored. I can only score this job once, so even if I were to draft or get another camp in ruins, I could never score it again. So you'll want to, I like to tuck it under the board. We'll put it in a score pile just so you know what you've done. Now when you take a camp action, you shuffle your discard pile. This is in my play area technically, so I don't have a discard pile. You would shuffle your discard pile back into your deck. Typically when you shuffle, that returns you to San Andreas, but when you take the camp action, you're actually keeping yourself out in the wilderness a little bit longer. So I would camp, and my health would go up to 5, meaning that I could also score my survivor, which would give me 5 more victory points and $3 more. So it's a really good first turn. I've gotten rid of both of my jobs, because any jobs that you're holding on to at the end of the game are negative points. So I've luckily completed these 2 jobs. I have a lot of health. At the end of my action phase, all the cards I played would go into my discard pile. And that would be the end of my action phase as the redhead. So we'll have Jebediah go next. Where's the card at? Oh, that's over. I can grab his deck instead of his hand. I was going to say, where's that card I drafted? So here's Jebediah's hand. I could have played this earlier to get more money to spend in the market, but I wasn't paying attention. So you would just play this card. This card's sort of easy. It gives you 2 money. And then let's just look at Jebediah's jobs here. We want a lot of money, and we want to make our way up to Keola Springs if we can. So I don't think I can quite get there now, but what I will do is make my way up there. So I will spend 2 movement to move 1, 2. Now, I need to spend an attack or I'm going to take a damage. So I'm going to spend this 2 attack here to prevent that damage. Then I'm going to use this to push my curse up 1 and copy my 2 movement so I can get here to the desert. And then I'm going to use my boots to move into Keola Springs. And moving into Keola Springs increases my curse. So I'm getting very close to becoming cursed at the 3. And then my action, unfortunately for this example, is going to be the same thing as the redhead, and it's going to be to camp. And by camping, I will score my Keola Springs, which gives me $5 and 7 victory points. And that is my turn. That is the end of the action phase. So the next phase of the game is pretty simple. It's sort of a cleanup phase. This is when the first player token would pass, so Jebediah will get it. And it's when players can decide to discard anything that they have in their hand to draw more cards. So as the redhead, I'm actually going to discard 2 of these curses and draw 2 cards to my hand. And Jebediah is going to discard his curse and draw the rest of his deck, because he actually starts with less cards in his hand than other players. Oh, I forgot to increase Jebediah's health when he camped. But he didn't have any cards to shuffle in either, so that's okay. So that is the end of the cleanup phase. I don't think there's anything else we have to do right now. We don't have any monsters out that will be moving towards San Andreas. So that completes a round, and I'm going to go into the next round because we're going to see some new things. But you've basically got a good chunk of sort of the game flow and how a turn works and how the game works already. But let's see another turn. Let's keep going, keep running through. So first things first, Jebediah's turn. He will improvise. So we'll draw 2 cards and pick 1 to add. Now, my curse is quite high, so I think I'll take this blessing to reduce curse. And then the redhead, let's just make sure we're looking at her hand when we make our decision here. We have some movement, some curse reduction, and then either movement or attack. I'm going to stick with getting some movement just because I know the redhead is not as good at that as other characters. Okay, so the redhead is improvised. Now we have the encounter phase. No one is in San Andreas, so this is going to be a little different than last time. Starting with the first player, who's Jebediah, we're going to draw an encounter card based on where he's located. He's located in a cursed location. All the cursed locations have names on the board. So Manolana, Mountain View, the Ruins, the Cursed Hangman's Tree, Santana de Aguasucia, Keola Springs, and Expedition are all considered cursed. It's when bigger events happen there. So Jebediah will draw this encounter card. And encounter cards typically give you some choices to make. So I've stumbled upon a mysterious cave. I can throw up a rope for 4 attack, which I will draw 2 additional cards to my hand. I can climb the wall and get 2 victory points for 2 movement, or I can fall and get hurt. So, you know, these 2 things are usually good things to do, but I need to expend some of my resources. But there's always something you can do. So obviously I don't want to do fall and get hurt if I can avoid it, but my plans have probably been changed a little bit because of this encounter. So I'm going to play my train robber card and tap my boots to get 2 movement and get 2 victory points, which is going to tie me up and climb the wall. So I've tied up with the redhead, and that is the end of my encounter phase, except I'm going to play 1 more card, which is going to decrease my curse by 2. So now that my encounter phase is over, I can discard those, and my hand is down to 3 cards. So the redhead is sitting in these ruins here of what looks like an old train and tanker and some houses. So she will draw sort of a regular encounter card. And these are more story-driven or text-heavy, if you will. And I will read the ruins location on this card. You can always have another player read it for you if you want to create that atmosphere. But I will read it now. You attempt to translate an ancient tablet you found beneath the ruins. The text is dense and confusing. Will you trash a card from your hand to stay focused and succeed, which will allow me to upgrade one of my stats, or move on from the ancient tome? So basically it's giving me the choice of trashing a card from my hand to upgrade a stat, or to just give up. Trashing cards is hard to do, so I'm inclined to do it. I guess I will trash this curse card. No, you know what? I'm actually going to trash my survivor card. So you can just put that out of play. It's trash from my deck. It allows me to upgrade a stat, and the stat I'm going to upgrade is my curse threshold. Take that up to 5. I could have also taken a health. I could have increased my bullet capacity. I could have moved any of these three cubes, 1 more. So that's my encounter. Put that in the discard pile. Now it'd be important to note that if we were both located here, and we would have drawn this same, Jebediah would have started and we'd have drawn this card, and we would have both been in the same location with the same encounter. You don't draw an encounter if you're on the same location. Something happens at each location basically during any turn, but people in the same space are given the same options. Because up in Kaola Springs we found a mysterious cave. It wouldn't make sense if we were standing next to each other, one of us found a mysterious cave and one of us didn't. So that's the way encounters work. So now we would move on to the action phase of the turn. Jebediah has spent not only he's used his boots already, but he's also spent up a lot of his cards. I'm going to move here 1. My curse increases, and my curse increases here from copying it, so that's going to take me up to 2. But then I have the 2 movement and the 1 attack to get me here. And for my action, I'm going to recover the Silkali Fang, wherever you say that. I'm not sure. Felipe can correct me. And this is recovered and added directly to my hand, which is nice. So the cards I played will go to my discard pile. That's the end of my action phase. And I am currently located here, so on my next action phase, if I were going to stay here, I could potentially take out Bartholomew if I could get that much attack, which is tough. He's a tough guy, but he's worth a lot of victory points. So that's something I may try. But that's the end of Jebediah's action phase. And then the redhead, let's play these, which gets me here, gets me this card we saw earlier in my mess up. I'll play that as well, which gives her 2 victory points. And the only card left in my hand is the cursed effect. And I moved 2. I spent 2 attacks, so I don't take any damage. My curse goes down, but it's already at 0. So the card that's left in my hand is this curse card. So that is the end of her action phase. All this will go into the discard pile. First player token would switch, and we are going to draw up to 4. Redhead's going to keep this card and draw 4. So she'll be first player next time. She's got these. Jebediah has these 2 cards in his hand, but he has no deck, so he has to shuffle. Whenever you shuffle during your turn, And if you're shuffling, if you've shuffled or during your turn, or if you shuffled during your cleanup phase, you automatically return to San Andreas. It sort of represents that you haven't built up enough experience to be out in the desert of the Pacific Ocean that long. So you have to return to San Andreas. So Jebediah will go back to San Andreas. He will draw 2 new cards to his hand. And we are back at the start, which always starts with Improvise. So the redhead goes first now. She is in Mountain View. She will draw these 2 cards. They both deal with drawing cards, but this lets me trash cards from my hand. I think I'm going to go with the filtering of generating some stuff and then picking cards to keep. Jebediah's turn. He'll improvise. Ooh, Call to Darkness. Trash a card from your hand to improvise again. It's really good. I like it. It will make me cursed, which I don't like. All right, we'll stick with the same thing. It's too risky. Too risky at this point. So redhead is first again. She. Just the wrong spot. And we are now in the encounter phase. So she's in Mountain View, so she's going to draw a cursed encounter. It is the Gothis. I can spend a life to read it and increase my curse threshold. I can burn it and get 3 victory points, or I can hide it and my curse goes up. Well, I scored my survivor already, so I'm inclined to spend to read it and increase my curse threshold. Spend some blood and some life to learn about a mysterious book. So that is what she is going to do. And then Jebediah is in San Andreas. He has some money. So I am inclined to go shopping in the store because I want to upgrade my weapon proficiency, which is something we haven't talked about. But at any time you can spend bullets to generate additional attack. I always like to save up my bullets to go for big bounties, which based on the hands I've had, I just haven't done yet, but I will do soon so you can see it. But I'm going to spend $5 on this Cult Walker because that's going to make me much more proficient at weapons. I'll spend another $1 to get 1 more bullet to maximize my bullets. And that I'll save this other $1, and that's all she wrote for Jebediah. That's his encounter phase. So we'll go back to the redhead here. Sorry, it's a little weird to play 2 characters at the same time. The redhead's going to generate $2. And what can I do here? Can I get that bounty? I don't think I can. So card draw, it's not bad. Should I fight demons or well, let's see, I have 3 movement. So I'm gonna go 1, 2. I'll copy this. My curse will go up. So I've done that correctly. I have 2 more movement. So I'm going to move 1 more to the desert. And as my action, I'm going to choose to take an encounter there. You can always, if you don't have anything better to do, you can always take an encounter to where you are. So let's see what's going on in the desert here. You spy a speck of green amongst all the sand. It's a small cactus. You crack it open and fill your canteen with a few drops of water. So I'm going to gain 2 extra coins as my action as the redhead, and I have a ton of money and need to get back to San Andreas to to spend it. So that's the end of her action phase. All these cards will go into her discard pile. I only have that card left. And we'll go back over to Jebediah, and for his action, let's find a bounty to get, because he certainly has a lot of attack. And we'll see Cursed, which is cool. So let's see where we can get. We have 4 movement. So ideally we want to get one of these guys if we can. Ruins for 11. 8. We have this new gun, which we could definitely get this Cult of Horus. So let's see if we can get to some ruins. I see some here. This is actually better for us. So I'm going to spend this, and use our boots. That's 4 movement. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're in the ruins. So for our action, we're going to capture this Cult of Horus. So 11 attacks. We've got 1, 5. Our curse goes up. We're going to turn into a Spectre. And you can see that if we hadn't bought this weapon, our weapon proficiency has gone down substantially. More importantly, reshuffling our deck doesn't return us to San Andreas, but instead we suffer damage. But back to our attack, we need 11. There's 5. We're going to spend 3 bullets to generate 6 attack, which will get us, actually we can only spend 2 because I have this card. So we'll spend 2 bullets to generate 4 attack, and that's 2 more, that's 6, that's 11. So we defeat the Cult of Horus. I'll put it over here in a score area. We'll show off the bounty card. So our first reward is we reduce our curse by 2, which is good because that will get us uncursed. And it gives us 5 victory points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we'll put this in our score area over here off to the side. My last card in my hand is a copy card. Now I can't copy the artifact card. It specifically says upgrade card. But this is the only card that's left in my hand. So that's the end of my action phase. I've captured this bounty, gotten my reward, and now we will flip up the next card in this set. And you can see that the card after this is going to be when the monsters come in. So I definitely feel like you've seen a lot of what the game entails already. So if you just wanted to get a sense of how the game plays, that is, you definitely have enough, and you've seen a lot of the core of what the game is. I'm going to play a little longer just to see if I can get one of the monster miniatures out. And then we can fast forward to that. You can go to that in another video if you'd like to see that. But now we're entering our cleanup phase. So the redhead will ditch this starting card, draw 1 card. That's going to trigger the shuffle. She needs to draw 3 more. So she's going to go back to San Andreas, which we desperately needed to do because she has a lot of money to spend. So there's her starting hand. Jebediah will discard this curse card and just draw 4. And untap his card. He is first player. So we'll start a new turn, and I'm going to try to play a little faster for you guys. So improvise for Jebediah. Take this card draw, and I can play this right now. His improvise phase is done. Again, I just wanted to show you that you can play cards whenever you like, as long as you have them in your hand. You just need to let players know when you're done. I'm going to take this to improvise again. This turn, I'm going to play it. I'm going to trash this curse card from my deck, and that lets me improvise again, so I can see 2 more cards in this deck. And I will take this card, which gives me, it's a train heist, so it's not great, but it'll give me, actually, yeah, let's do that. All right. So encounter phase, Jebediah is first, I think, unless I messed it up. He will draw an encounter. He is in the ruins. A man with a lute approaches you and mentions he has heard of some of your exploits around San Andreas. If you're not cursed, he thanks you for your good deeds and hands you some bullets, plus 3 bullets. It's amazing because I just spent them. I can only hold 5 though, so I'm just gonna go up to 5. So he shook my hand. If you are cursed, he shakes his head in disappointment and continues on his way. The redhead is in San Andreas, so she is going to purchase, she's going to shop, and I'm going to spend 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, $10 to get the Gatling gun. I'm going to fill that spot. I'm going to refresh. Don't really need health. So I will spend $2 to upgrade my bullet capacity, and then $2 more on bullets. So I can use my Gatling gun at least once. And that is the her encounter phase. So we'll go back to Jebediah. He'll take his action phase. Generate some money. And because of that job I have, I'm actually going to copy that effect to get $2 more. Then I'm going to reduce my curse by 2. Then I am inclined to then I'm going to move to the desert and spend this for 1 attack. 3 attack, 4 attack, which is a total of 5. And then I will spend 3 bullets to generate 6 attack. So I don't need to use this, but I don't want it in my hand. To get Kawhi the Coward, which will reward me with $4. So I'll take that. And 2 grit. Put that in my score area. And that was my action. But what we do get to do is we get to flip this and see how that works. So the crow appears in Mano-Olana. What happens is this crow is going to move towards San Andreas during every cleanup phase. And if that crow ever enters San Andreas, the game immediately ends. But if we kill 3 of these creatures, 3 of those bounties, capture them, the game also ends. Or if all of these artifacts are recovered. So if there's none of these artifact cards on the board anymore, that also triggers the end of the game. The round would finish in those cases. So let's go to the redhead. Let's see what she's going to do. I am inclined to mess with Jebediah because he is in the lead. So I'm going to show some of the ways. One of the ways to interact with players. I'm trying to show you guys all the actions in the game. So I'm going to move to Jebediah. I have 1 attack, 2 attack. I'm going to use my Gatling gun. Oh, is there a way to spend less bullets? I have 2 attack. I need 8. So to rob a player, you need to have double their health in attack. So he's at 4, so I would need 8. So yeah, I may as well do it. I'll just have extra. So I would spend this to generate 9, 3 bullets for 9 attack, I have 11 total, which is more than enough. I'm going to deal 1 damage to him. I'm going to get 4 victory points because he was at 4 health at the time. And I'm going to take 4 of his dollars and rob him. So now that incentive to attack him has gone down. He'd only be worth 3 victory points, but he is easier to attack. So for my action, I rob Jebediah, mess with him a little bit, and with these cards, I think I will keep this and discard this. You just go back over to Jebediah. He has this curse card. He'll discard it. So cleanup phase, Crow moves closer. Jebediah draws 4 and triggers a shuffle, so he's going back to San Andreas. And I have 1. The redhead has plenty of cards because she was just there. She just draws 4. Oh man, got a ton of movement for the redhead. And now Jebediah goes first. So I'm going to do 1 more turn. And then I think we've covered enough of the game. Hopefully you've gotten a sense of all the decisions. Sorry, it's been a little awkward with me playing everything, but there's a lot of different paths to victory, and I'm not really focusing on one. I'm trying to show you guys the variety of things you can do in the game. Just so you get a sense of it. But you can see that there's plenty of deck building. There's some character building. I'm going to try to fight some of the normal wanted bounties because these guys flip, and that's sort of neat because you can attack them as much as you want. But let's do Jebediah's turn. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. He is going to improvise. You're always presented with these 2 interesting choices of what you're going to do. My curse is low right now, so I'll keep that. And the redhead is going to take this. She has a ton of movement. And then we'll do encounters. Jebediah is in town. I want to start saving up for that quest, so I'm actually going to go to the job board, get some more jobs. So let's see. Camp in canyons or rifleman. Get up to 8 bullets. I am very far away from that. I think I can camp in canyons, so I'm just going to take this as a potential job in the future. Redhead's going to draw an encounter. She's in the desert, so a merchant appears ahead in the clearing. He greets you and sets out his wares. You may take shopping actions as if you were in the store in San Andreas. So someone has left San Andreas and is visiting the redhead. She can buy things. I think she's going to spend all of her money to get her bullets up to maximum. So she can use her Gatling gun again. Okay, so let's do Jebediah's action phase. Let's see if we can get another artifact. We'll play this for $2. We'll use boots to move here. This is there. This is there. We'll copy that for a curse. And then we'll use 2 attack to get us here. And our action is going to be to grab this. And we have the Eye of Horus, which is draw 3 cards. And I played everything. So this all goes in my discard. And that was Jebediah's turn. And then for the redhead, let's see what she's going to do. I'm going to try to attack some generic enemies for you guys. So first things first, I'm going to play this to draw 2 cards and then discard 2. I'm going to get rid of these 2 lame starting cards that give me more movement than I need. I'm going to play this for 2 victory points. I'm going to play this. That's 3 attack. Curse goes up. I can move 2. So I've got 3 movement, and right now I've got 3 attack. And I can use my Gatling gun once for 12. So let's go to, all right, so let's use this up. Let's go here. 1, 2, curse goes up. Let's kill some crows. So I have 2. I'm going to generate 9 by spending 3 bullets on my Gatling gun. And I can kill these crows for 6, which is going to leave me left with 3. So what I'll do is I'll flip them over and I'll take the reward. So it's -4 and 2 victory points, so I'll go up 2. And my curse will go down to 0. And I killed those crows, and now I've got these crows for 5. I have 3 attack left. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to spend 2 bullets on my normal weapon proficiency to get me 4 more, which is going to give me 7, which will leave me with 2, but then I can kill them as well. Because you can attack these generic enemies and just sort of get in a brawl with them and flip them over and over again. So my curse will go to 0, but I'll get 2 more points. And that is the end of that. Of the redhead's turn, so we'll enter cleanup. The crows move closer. Jebediah spent all his cards, so he'll draw 4. And the redhead will draw 4. Up to 4. She'll keep this, so she has 1 card left in her deck. And that is the end of that turn. So what I'm going to do now, just so I can give you something else in this video, is I'm going to stop here. I think I've shown off plenty of the game and how to play. If you have any questions, obviously contact us. That's never a problem. I'm going to stop here and say thank you for watching.